All right. I think we are live. Yes, we are live. Thank you, everybody, for coming on the show. My name is Dan Duran, and I'm the host of the Tech Lounge. I have my co-star here with me, Andrew Summerton. Hello, Andrew. How are you?
I'm good, Dan. Good to see you. Really, really good to see you, Dr. Bada and Ragnar. Really, really pleased to have you here.
Yes, we are
Hi,
very.
everyone.
Hello, hello, Ragnar. Ragni.
Right, that's
Hi.
right. We got his nickname just a minute, just literally 30 seconds ago, everybody.
Yes, so we are extremely delighted and honored to have these two very special people in this show. Dr. Maria Bada. I'm going to do a couple of introductions for Dr. Bada and also as well as Ragnar, and then let's get on with the show. Why there is a need to change human behavior in companies so they can learn people can learn cybersecurity, and then you can have successful training programs for staff, right? So, Dr. Maria Bada, you're a lecturer at Queen Mary University in London, teaching and conducting research in areas such as online safety and prevention, decision making, cybercrime, and cybersecurity. You currently work at AwareGO as a behavioral scientist. You're a research fellow in the Research Institute of Social Technical Cybersecurity, as well as research. You have been a senior research associate at the University of Cambridge, a senior researcher at the University of Oxford. According to Google Scholar, you have author or co-author over 38 research papers on this subject. Some of which are cybersecurity awareness campaigns. Why do they fail to change behavior? Developing cybersecurity education and awareness for SMEs or small and medium-sized enterprises. And the two that I actually read that I found very, very interesting
Thank you.
are developing a cybersecurity culture, so current practices and future needs, as well as profiling the cyber criminal. So it's not all about just profiling companies and trying to get successful campaigns, cybersecurity awareness training campaigns for companies, but also is understanding the mind of the cyber criminal. So welcome to the show, Dr. Bada.
Thank you so much for the introduction. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. And Ragnar or Ragni Sigurdsson, I hope I'm not butchering your last name too much. You're the co-founder and head of research and development at AwareGO, certified information system security professional. So you have a CISSP certification, Microsoft certified systems engineer. You're also a certified ethical hacker. I didn't know that, Ragnar. That's pretty cool. And welcome to the show as well.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Looking forward to the discussions here today.
Amazing. So AwareGO is a global provider of human cyber risk and awareness solutions, right? So the company does human risk assessment based on behavioral science, which is like very futuristic. And with everything in Europe, it is kind of looking ahead as opposed to us here in North America, I find. AwareGo's unique micro-learning content is designed to improve cybersecurity awareness in the workplace. And to date, AwareGO has successfully trained over 8 million employees worldwide through different medium, and you guys are based in Iceland. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely correct. We're also working in Croatia and in the Czech Republic, and also we have an office in the US.
Nice.
Interesting. So let's start with a couple of questions. So we have a lot of people on the floor. So people are going to be saying hi to us, and we'll open up the floor or the forum for people to ask questions. So Gladstone, if you want, you're going to put questions and comments, and people saying shout outs to us and stuff on the chat, and then we'll see who do we have. Chang Giz says, "Happy Friday, nice to meet you, new guest, and good to see you, Dan and Andrew." Hello, Chang Giz. I hope you're doing fantastic. And who else do we have?
And we're really honored again, like I said, in regards to having your guys' skill set and the company and your doctor credentials. I know the team through the entire last couple of weeks of us marketing this show. A lot of people are excited. So the reason I'm saying this, guys, is don't be shy. They're here. We're live, so please ask questions. They're the experts, so please don't hesitate to reach out.
All right. So the first question that I have is, a scientific approach to cybersecurity awareness using behavioral science. How interesting is that? Why is there a need for that?
Well, I can take that. So we've seen, and obviously Ragnar has a huge experience in the area, working within the private sector. But even in my experience as an academic, I'm seeing the lack of effectiveness in current approaches when it comes to any initiative, any awareness program, even at the national level, to be honest. We see awareness campaigns that governments actually implement, or awareness programs that organizations actually develop or implement, and they're not effective. We have a problem when it comes to changing behavior. And there are many reasons around that and why it's not effective. One of the reasons is that usually these programs and interventions, they run once a year, maybe twice a year. They're not enough to change behavior in the long term. And definitely they're not enough to change the mindset of employees, because it's not just about sharing information and knowledge. It's about changing attitudes, changing behavior and mindsets, and overall changing a whole culture of an organization. And this is really why we took a more kind of scientific approach, looking at behavior change from a more kind of social psychological perspective, looking at existing theories, what works, what doesn't work, and of course bringing in all the experience over the years from our clients as well.
Dr. Bada, in regards to that, now obviously the courses and the structure and the mindset behind, learning and absorbing and moving forward, but does a lot of it come from the psychological, come from the way it's executed, maybe from the C-level executives, the buy-in, and then the duration of it? Is that kind of go hand in hand with it?
Yes, absolutely. And it's, I mentioned culture, and it all starts from the C-level. Even having and kind of implementing an awareness program needs to be promoted from the C-level. Otherwise, it just ends up, an exercise that we tick the box, it's done once a year. And that is not enough to really change mindset and behaviors.
Yes, and we call it death by PowerPoint, right? people, people watch a 2-hour PowerPoint once a year, and they just fall asleep and then tick the box and stuff like that.
And imagine that immediately leads to a negative experience. So employees consider, they kind of develop a negative mindset around cybersecurity overall. So they just avoid it. They avoid anything about it. So
yes, I have a stat on the screen from Proofpoint on their cybersecurity awareness training and stuff like that. They do their phishing or the fish report. 25% of organizations allocate 2 or more hours to formal training.
Annually.
25% annually.
That's crazy.
That's pretty profound. I mean, like death by PowerPoint, absolutely. So maybe Ragnar, maybe you can tell us a little bit about your micro learning and how it is done through your AwareGO platform and what it means to companies.
Yeah, sure. When I was starting out, when I was doing the pen testing in 2005, 6, 7, I went into the same companies with my PowerPoint slides, and I tried to be light and funny, but failed miserably. And people took it personally that they were sent to me for an hour or so. It was after one of these presentations at a pharmaceutical company that there has to be a better way to get the message across. And so we started AwareGO, and our first videos were sort of like a sitcom. We did 12 episodes in a series, and trying to be similar to The Office, but we weren't close as funny as they were, even though we were trying
Right.
very hard.
Yeah,
And,
you probably needed Michael Scott in there
That's right.
teaching cybersecurity awareness training.
and but it was our first series, and we learned a lot.
Right.
And we started out with 6 to 8 minutes each episode, and you had to watch every episode in a certain order. And I think that me and the editor were the only ones who watched the whole thing.
The whole thing. Right.
So, but we took the lessons, and we talked to a lot of people, went to conferences and showed it around. And generally it was too long, and not. Our first, the actors in our first series were Canadians.
Right. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And one Icelander, but he was supposed to be a foreigner anyway. So
yes,
and we got a lot of learning moments from this. It was too long. Also, we had the dialogue. People were talking, so it's very hard to translate into any languages, because you had to
try to
be on
match them out
with the lips and so on.
Right.
Yes.
And but in 2014 we did the format we're doing today.
Yes.
We are doing very short. Most of our content is within a minute and to the point. In 60 seconds, you recognize the problem.
The relevance,
and where's the threat and why you should care about it.
Yes,
how you mitigate it.
Absolutely.
All
so
in 60 seconds.
Yeah, so Rhino Cybersecurity is a partner of AwareGO, and we implement your training content, and it's extremely well done. Like the quality of the videos is very good. The shock value or the impact
so
that
relevant.
they have on people is very well done. Also, the videos don't go over 2 minutes long, which is pretty cool for a drip campaign that you can create throughout, because it's all about consistency, right? It's not about once a year, but it's once or twice a week consistent drip campaigns that actually make a change in how people interact, right? So I have go ahead, Andrew.
I was going to say, I think what's really important about that is because you never want to instill a fear culture when it comes to cybersecurity, right? It's an awareness culture. And I think by having relative, and relevant videos that are shocking but relevant, like I said, and it builds that knowledge base. So it's not that fear factor, because you never want to build that fear factor to Dr. Bada, basically on the human behavior. It's about creating that just awareness and that being able to relate a situation to a cybersecurity concern.
Yes. So let's play this video. This is I found it very amusing, by the way. This is what is Zoom bombing, and I guess this goes back to the Zoom problem that they were getting hacked and people were just bombing their Zoom campaigns or Zoom meetings, right? So not just on Zoom, but different platforms. So this is AwareGO's response or training video for Zoom bombing. I hope you enjoy it.
All this new technology is great when we can't meet people face to face. We can create a virtual meeting room using various video conferencing softwares. It works great both in our personal lives and for doing business. But if we're not careful, our formal meetings might become anything but, as online pranksters and trolls scour the internet for open meeting links in the attempt to shock and disgust people. Make sure to lock your online meetings and change your meeting password regularly so trolls and pranksters can't mess with your business.
Sitting there crying.
He's crying. I'm making fun. Make sure you update your online conference software whenever you are prompted. Enable all security features on the software before a meeting takes place. And change your meeting links and passwords regularly. How cool is that? Huh? I mean, who is not going to get the point when they watch this video? The thing is, like, people are interested on watching the videos, right? So that's the key. All right, so we have a few comments in here. I think we have a comment from Drew Mevada. Maybe you can put it on the screen, Gladstone, and then any other questions. We're opening the forum for you guys out there. If you have any questions, just make sure you post them in there. He says phishing is of the most well-known, one of the most well-known types of cyber attacks. I just learned this sentence through. I thought, what? There's no way that today, in today's 2022, people are having bad awareness for security. Everyone knows not to respond to an email.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you would think, right?
Well, that's exactly it, right? That's the thought process. But that's why we're having this conversation. And you know what's funny, because I was going to ask you, Dr. Bada, in regards to that, because technology advances so much. Mm-hmm. Does the human behavior coincide with that too? Because that must be changing constantly too, right? Because I mean, if we're learning to advance technology, the videos are being changed, technology is changing. You know, hackers are using AI, etc. The human behavior must be adapting to that as well, or isn't it? Or is it behind the times? Or how does that work?
Well, the thing with online behavior is that we kind of tend to not necessarily worry about risks online. So we don't really interact with technology thinking about risk. We interact with technology to have fun, to engage with others, to communicate. It's not necessarily that we think about, oh, there's a cyber criminal now looking at me or trying to steal my data. And basically, if we take it from a cyber psychology and really kind of social science perspective, online people behave differently. And there's the stereotypical example of, would you leave your house unlocked when you leave? Kind of making that comparison with, would you leave your laptop, for example, a computer openly, available in a cafe or something like that. Yeah, the answer is that people do behave differently online. We tend to trust people online. We tend to feel, loose. We feel less visible, maybe, and we don't necessarily think about risk. And this makes us vulnerable. But in terms of really why people are victims of phishing, going back to that comment, and we see still phishing attacks being prevalent, there are many reasons, and yes, one of them could be lack of training and awareness, or employees don't necessarily know how to really identify a phishing email. But it could be other reasons, such as being in a hurry or being really stressed. So there comes the human aspect of that, which can easily lead into someone clicking the link accidentally, and potentially leading to an incident. But phishing attacks link to ransomware attacks, so it's even more serious than that. So yeah.
So the thing is that what I've seen, and I actually wrote about this in an article that I posted on LinkedIn last week, is that when you have, let's say, you get injured, you go to the doctor, you go to the emergency right away. When let's say somebody's intruding into your house, what do? You call 911 right away. When you're the victim of a cyber attack in a company, what do? You keep silent, right?
Usually.
You don't talk. So the question is, and this is what's going on in the world today. Like, for example, okay, 3 strikes and you're out. Like, you get fished once, then you get fished twice. The third time, you're fired, right? Or even simulation campaigns. Like attack simulations campaigns by email. Those are negative signals that you're sending people, which are not conducive to creating a trusting culture inside of your company. Is that correct? So how my question is, how do you build cyber resilience in the long term through positive reinforcement?
And you touched upon different aspects there. it all starts, and I think the basis is developing resilience through developing a kind of robust cybersecurity culture within your company. And how do you do that? People are just one part of that equation, I would say. Definitely you need to raise awareness, train employees so that they are alert, they can identify risks. But then apart from that, you need to have your own threat model or threat strategy, identifying potential vulnerabilities, but then trying to really identify the kind of looking within your company and trying to identify your maturity. Where are you? At what stage are you as a company when
Right.
it comes to resilience, and trying to refine that, test, assess, implement your refined policies, implement them, assess them again, looking again at the maturity and resilience of employees. So it's kind of a mix of the human element, processes, policies, and how all of that interacts, and so that we can really say that a company is at a mature level in terms of resilience.
Dr.
Yes.
Bada, in regards to that, I was going to have, so exactly to what you're saying, I was going to ask Ragnar, actually. I mean, maybe this is something for you. Then what is recommended, or what have you seen in the changing of your business as you continue to scale and more people are, is a year is a process for training? Is it ongoing? Is it like a solid year and then quarterly? Like, what does that look like as far as to build that cybersecurity awareness culture? Because it should be consistent, I would think, but not too much. Like, what does that look like from an AwareGO perspective?
I can comment first, and then Ragnar,
Okay,
you can
sure.
touch on that. Well, it really depends on the company and at what stage they're at. If
Right.
we're talking about a company that now is implementing an awareness program, obviously they would need a bit more time. But again, it really depends on the engagement of the C-level, the support of managers, how frequent the training is. There are so many things, so we can't really say. And I would say, and Ragnar, you can add on that the AwareGO approach is really a personalized one. We can't say that we follow a one, fit all approach.
I love that.
Where,
I love that.
So that's why I can't really give you, a robust, 1 year, 12 months.
I'm happy that you say that, because that's exactly our approach. We customize it through your help and our partnership, because every business is different. Every approach is different. The C-level buy-in versus the employee is different. Sometimes there's a huge churn in the employees. So you could have, new employees coming in every single month, or you have people that have been there for years. So it is, I love that you said that, because it's exactly our approach, is that customization, depending on the client's needs. It really is important.
Exactly.
Yeah, we go a little farther, actually. Spear phishing is huge, right? So it's not just a cookie cutter approach to cybersecurity awareness training. Everybody's different, and we go a bit farther by doing what's called OSINT, so open source intelligence, which is basically creeping people, going into their Facebook accounts and Twitter and LinkedIn and seeing what they like, what they don't like, who they are, and all of that, because that information is publicly available, and then creating a program that actually targets the individual, right? And that there is more efficacy on the training. So that's that is completely customized and not cookie cutter campaigns, which actually work way better in the long run. So the question that I have for Ragnar is about the human risk. Something very curious on your website. So let me just go in and show my screen right now. There you go.
I know we have some questions after too, so Gladstone, feel free to bring those up once Dan is done here, because I think this is important.
Yes. So absolutely, we're opening the forum and we have a whole bunch of questions in there. So I apologize, guys. This conversation is super interesting, and we're touching on some really, really valuable points for people to learn from this and then apply them in their own cybersecurity awareness training campaigns and stuff. So this is your page on the human risk assessment, and something very curious that I saw and hear, and that we're starting to implement through your new platform on human risk, is this. So phishing. interactive email phishing scenarios that test employees comprehensively and positively rather than phishing simulations. Now, this is what I was talking about, the negative reinforcement when you're sending cybersecurity phishing attacks that are meant to deceive people in their emails. They click and then they get phished, but it's a simulation attack. That stuff is negative. Now, if you can talk maybe about the technology and how your platform works to be able to have the same results, but in a positive way.
Yeah, like we do it in the human risk assessment. We don't really like
I think
attacks on people.
Sorry, Ragnar, I think you're cutting out a little bit.
Yeah, you have a little bit of a lag.
For you, or can you speak again?
Yeah.
No, it's a bit off. I think your microphone. Maybe you can switch it on and off again, and then try one more time.
How's now?
The technology world.
Refresh your page, maybe, and then you'll come back with your microphone. Hopefully that will work. All right, so no worries. In the meantime, while Ragnar gets his microphone, this happens all the time. This is a live show, right? So we're going to answer questions and put comments on the screen. So please go back and Gladstone, if you can put some of those comments and questions on the screen, that we'll be able to answer them.
I see one from Shangiz. There he is.
Ragnar, are you back?
Are you back? Perfect, beautiful.
Yes, he's back. Okay.
Okay. Before we answer Alex's question here, I don't know if then maybe Ragnar can answer your question.
Okay.
Dan,
Just to remind everybody, you're not utilizing phishing simulations. That's the bottom line, right? How does your cyber risk platform gets the same result, but through positive reinforcement, as opposed to negative phishing attacks?
Yeah, well,
that was my main question.
In the regular phishing tests, you get an email and either you click or not. And depending on the product, maybe you'll get a red screen that says you're being tested and you failed. Some cases are like that, but in our human risk assessment, you know you've been tested, but maybe not how. And you have a scenario. Let's say it's an email.
Okay, so yeah, so right now I think your microphone is really it's still acting up for some reason. So let me answer it for you, because we're part of this. So basically, what Ragnar is saying is that it's an interactive process. So it's an interactive GUI. You go onto the module, and then when you do the risk assessment, you have to go through the testing, right? But the testing is you have to hover over the email. So there is like a simulation email that is in there, and you have to hover over to see the link. Right. So, and then the simulation or this assessment asks you questions about what you've seen in that email. So, for example, hover over the images, or you forgot to look at the to sender and things like that. So and then it does a scoring system, right? So at the very end, when you go through the process of the assessment, you get a risk score based on what you would find if somebody actually sent you a phishing email. So it is 100% negative reinforcements free, as you might say. So I think I answered. I hope I answered
very well.
Perfect, beautiful. I was going to make sure. I wanted reiteration from you, Dr. Bada, and we got the thumbs up for Ragnar. So
very good student.
That's great. Okay, I'm learning something here. See, so before I show the video on your risk assessment module and what AwareGO does so incredibly well, let's answer a few of the questions that we have on from people. All right, Gladstone, put them on. I think Alex Leslie, he asked, are there video meeting platforms that are safer than others? I mean, this is a cybersecurity kind of or technical. As long as you have end-to-end encryption, right? So, and you're able to have an ID and a password that, whether it's Meet or Zoom or Teams, for example, they're all going to be safe and secure, right? So that's my thing. You don't want to have somebody doing a man-in-the-middle attack because you don't have encryption or end-to-end encryption from from each computer in the network.
Sometimes it's kind of fun because we'll end up having meetings and it'll have like one of our team members will join us via video, but then they don't have audio, so they got to call in. So we have two of the same people. So we're like, are you here twice, or is it someone creeping us?
Yeah, I think Ragnar just went out. I think he might have bounced.
Dropped off. He might come back. Hopefully he'll come back.
Ragnar, if you're there,
hopefully,
you come back. We'll still see you. We want to see your handsome face in there, right?
Exactly.
So,
and we got your thumbs up. So that's, you know what, you can come back and just do your motions. It's perfect. There he is. There he is.
Did you? Is he? Oh, there he is. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. I tried the new browser. It was acting up.
Great.
Perfect now. Perfect.
Super.
All right, we have a question from Changiz, or actually a comment. He says, phishing attackers do not attack the systems and technology. They attack the people to engage their motivations to click on the links and open the attachments as fear, greed, affection, and so on. Right? That's a very, very wise comment from Changiz. They don't attack the technology. They attack the people, the behavior. Right? And you know what? Hackers are learning, and they also use psychology, right, and human behavior to attack people. Maybe Dr. Bada, you can talk about the evolution of the cyber attackers, and one of your papers talks about that, profiling the cyber criminal. Let's talk about that.
Yes, sure. So yeah, I totally agree with the comment, and definitely hackers and attackers have been targeting the humans. They've been using manipulation techniques coming from psychology, and some of them, could be around the urgency. You need to do that now, immediately. We need that file. So an employee is jumping on doing something that, supposedly their manager requested very quickly. So usually that is one of the techniques followed. But we've seen, kind of attacker motivations evolving, behaviors and tools evolving. And I could, since you're scrolling down to the paper on profiling, I could maybe talk about the case of an insider threat and how, an employee could become actually one of the attackers. So if we think about the motivations, again, I mentioned, it doesn't have to be financial. For example, when it comes to the insider threats, we see employees being disgruntled who didn't get a promotion, wanting to get back to the company. So they might decide to steal the data or sell the data that the company holds. And going back to the profile, these employees usually lack social skills. They are isolated. They might, have a bad relationship with their manager. And basically they kind of go towards the pathway of becoming an insider due to these reasons. And again, I mentioned lack of social skills. And usually these types of employees can easily be manipulated. And that is another aspect and another trend that we see at the moment, because now attackers, they don't just attack technology, as very well the comment was saying, they attack vulnerable employees. And by vulnerable, I mean employees that have lack of knowledge and skills, but also employees that might have financial difficulties, or as I mentioned, being disgruntled for some reason with the company. And actually, if I mention a specific example of ransomware attacks, we see now attackers actually trying to persuade employees to help them persuade their company pay ransom. So we see kind of a direct now communication between attackers and employees, because and that I think initiates, is being initiated due to the fact that more and more governments are kind of following the advice of no paying ransom or something like that. So attackers need to find a way again to manipulate humans to actually pay ransom.
Yes, so that's very interesting.
Yeah.
the one of I mean, we had an episode where we were talking about ransomware as a service, right?
Yes.
And how ransomware big hacking groups are using affiliates now. So you can just sign up as an affiliate, pay a monthly payment, they give you the software, the instructions of how to hack people, and then conduct ransomware. I don't even need to know how to hack systems in order to hack now, because of this affiliate model, business model from big hacking groups. And one of the things that I was showing is actually the conversations where they give you the little note, and then you have to go into the dark web, an onion website, and then there's a chat box that you're supposed to go in there and say, hello, my name is whatever. And then they will say, okay, what company are you from? And you tell them your company. And then, yes, just because of the size of your company, this is the ransom that we're asking for. And they negotiate with you. Yes. And they treat you very nice. And at the very beginning of the conversation, when the person from the company was trying to reach them on the chat, it said, I'm sorry, all of our agents are busy right now. If you please wait for a few minutes, somebody will be happy to serve you.
It's a business, right?
It is crazy. The interaction, as what you're mentioning, Dr. Bada, is it's like more in a personal level between the hackers and people inside of the company. So persuasion is a huge factor, right? Definitely, on all of this. So very, very interesting. I think Diego had a question in there as well. Diego Macastro, maybe you can put it online. He says, according to you, what is the borderline between paranoia and a responsible attitude on the internet? So let's talk about paranoia, going a little too far and being very lenient. What is the sweet spot in terms of cybersecurity awareness in programs?
Well, I don't know if that goes to me or Ragnar.
Yeah. So, what do you think, Dr. Bada, from your side?
From my side, looking at it, from a psychological perspective, I think that if we, as I mentioned, if we considered risks, during whatever we do online, then we would go towards paranoia. I think definitely. Right. And that would push us away from the internet, away from technology. So this is definitely not what we want. But when it comes to, a responsible attitude, you can definitely, follow specific advice that your company is providing, or kind of look after and follow the specific guidelines to avoid, specific, basic risks such as clicking a link. Right. I think that is the kind of basic level responsible attitude towards awareness and safety online. But worrying constantly whether a potential attacker might attack your company. Yes, that could build you maybe a better defense mechanism that could motivate you, develop a strategy. But still, it can easily lead you and push you away, depending on your skill level, or your motivational level. I can give an example very briefly of SMEs, and we see that advice coming from governments or law enforcement of how SMEs or what the steps that SMEs should be taking to enhance their resilience, usually the door is closed. They don't want to hear, they don't want to follow that advice. And the answer why is very simple, because they don't have the skills to do that. Yes. And they also don't have the resources to hire an expert to help them. So again, that pushes people and companies away from even having a responsible attitude.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, there is always paranoia, right? Like, especially at the top, if you're conscious of what could happen, you need to have a level, some sort of degree of paranoia. But too much paranoia leads to negative behavior inside of a company. So I'm going to play the AwareGO human risk assessment, and then let's hear from Ragnar in terms of what your platform does. Okay. So I'm just going to share my screen. And I'm going to play this clip on the AwareGO Human Risk Assessment. And tell us about your conference that you had in Europe and the
That's what I was going to
awards
ask
you
about.
got
Absolutely.
and what it does. So here it is.
AwareGO's Human Risk Assessment is a transformative way to identify, measure, and remedy the human risk factor when it comes to cybersecurity. It can be used to establish a human risk baseline before starting any kind of security awareness program. Since the dawn of the Internet, companies have been fighting cyber vulnerabilities with a myriad of traditional technologies and assigning cybersecurity training to people without really knowing its effectiveness or being able to tell the difference between knowledge and behavior. This is why we've created the AwareGO Human Risk Assessment. Designed by behavioral and cybersecurity experts, it allows organizations to measure human risk and resilience across a number of critical cybersecurity threat vectors. It measures cyber risks connected to social media that are not only personal but can affect the workplace as well. It helps assess awareness of secure password handling with multiple interactive experiences and situations. And it allows you to discover how employees would deal with tricky situations around the workplace, such as tailgating and shoulder surfing, and issues related to remote work, all in a safe and friendly environment. After completing the assessment, employees get individualized results with an explanation of what they did right and what they could have done better. This offers guidance and a chance to learn. The overall results help organizations gather actionable insights and make informed decisions about their security strategy. The Human Risk Assessment works as a standalone product, but its flexibility allows integration into existing platforms. When combined with AwareGO's live-action training content, it can bring your organization's cyber resilience to the next level. AwareGO Human Risk Assessment. Identify, measure, and remedy the human risk factor.
Identify, measure, and remedy. I love the video. Very, very well explained. So Ragnar, can you, if you can hear us now and you can actually talk, that would be amazing. So tell us about how this came about, this human risk assessment, and tell us about your awards and in the impact that it's having on people and companies.
Yeah, this is what we call closing the circle, because we come from the other direction, and most of our competitors, we come from the content first, while the others come from phishing simulations. But we needed some tool to measure, and we wanted to go further, not just to measure if you're click on a phishing email or not. Can have one example. One of our large customers ran this on their company, and it came out that around 65% of their workforce would, in some cases, share their passwords. And as you can imagine, this was across the board, executives, admins, regular users. There were situations where they would share their passwords.
Yes.
Right. So this was quite a holy shit moment.
I love it.
Okay, we need everything on this. We need new policies. We need training. We need awareness, and this should not be happening. And this came through our platform, and so they were super excited about it. So as you can imagine, but this was the culture in this company. So it needed quite a change.
Yes.
And, we are measuring now, I think, 7 different threat areas. And within each threat area, there are maybe 4 to 6 or 7 key behaviors that we are measuring.
Yes, and that's part of your reporting as well, right? So you can measure different dimensions of in the reports. You can get different dimensions of what you need to work on the next campaigns that you're going to be doing, right? Is that how it works?
And now,
and also we use personas. Like for instance, it's more dangerous if an admin shares their password than somebody just working on the office floor.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Because they hold more data, more confidential data and information, right? And decision making and all of that. Very interesting. Andrew, I think you had a question as well.
No, I was going to ask now. Didn't you guys just recently win a big award in Europe at some one of the conferences in regards to this new technology?
Yeah, we won the special accommodation for best behavioral software at the European SC Awards.
Nice, that's amazing.
Wow. Congratulations to AwareGO and the whole entire team.
Thank you.
And this is very exciting to see how, actual science. So you have, Dr. Maria Bada here working on the research mixed with technology, and Ragnar working on developing this super cool technology. And at the end, the results are very impressive. So I invite everybody to go to awarego.com and read up what they offer and perhaps sign up to the thank you, Gladstone. He put the website on the screen, awarego.com. Visit them and check them out. Get a demo. You can get a demo as well, Ragnar, I believe. Is it like a monthly demo, or how can people go and sign up?
Yeah, you can test for free, and if you like it, you can sign up or go through one of our partners, for example, you.
Like Rhino, there we go. I like that one. I like that plug, Ragnar. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I saw
Rhino.
I also saw a comment from Neil Bouchard. So he is the executive here in North America. I think he's out of.
There he is. Hey, Neil.
There it is. It's happy hour in Iceland. Nice. Yeah, what time is it in Iceland right now?
I think he wrote it while I was out, so. Made the assumption that I was just gone drinking or something.
There you go.
Okay.
Nice
so
to see you, Neil.
any questions from the crowd? If you have any comments or questions. Oh, we have one from Diego again. He says, even outside of your regular company activities, you should be careful on the internet. It's not only business related. If a hacker gets into your PC, on your PC, you have access to important company stuff, it will cause a problem. That's a very, very, very good point. Let's talk about not just phishing, because we've been talking about a lot about phishing, but cybersecurity is not just phishing. It's about like shoulder surfing and dumpster diving. It's about keeping information like secure in your home, because everything is interrelated. So maybe Dr. Bada, you can talk about or Ragnar, if you can talk about how AwareGO or how your research involves all aspects of somebody's life.
Yeah, I can definitely comment on that. And I will actually give an example of how the last 2 years, the situation we're at with hybrid kind of mode of working and working remotely changed the landscape. And that's something AwareGO definitely looked at because we saw new risks emerging. And of course, it's not just working from home, it's the kind of devices you will be using, but also the behaviors outside of your work environment by using social media, for example, the things you post on social media, whether they're relevant to your work or not, how these could be linked to what your family is posting on social media. So we're trying to really kind of promote awareness around potential risks that are not necessarily directly related to the work environment, but around your activities outside, and especially those that are, publicly kind of communicated by social media. So we have new videos on topics such as how to not share personal information on social media and so on, and specifically on remote working.
That's amazing. So the cybersecurity landscape, or the threat landscape, it is evolving at all times. It never still. It's a dynamic, always evolving process. And so should be the videos that you are creating, the content that you're creating, the new perspectives, the new behaviors that are coming out, as well as the training in terms of the technology and AwareGO is doing this. I have another because you're talking about this. It's very interesting and cool how you guys also do your cybersecurity videos targeting, for example, seasons, right? So let's play this one about Christmas. Okay, so this is a Christmas season. I guess I should have played the
night before Yuletide,
Halloween one.
and all through the land, a hacker was lurking, seeking open broadband. She traveled the streets with the tools of her trade, finding open home Wi-Fis and houses to raid.
It's so relevant.
But at one house she tried, she couldn't get through the door. They'd secured their home Wi-Fi with strong passwords and more. So to all of the people with connections so bright, secure your home Wi-Fi for a safe Yuletide night.
And there you go. That's very interesting. See, so this is what we're talking about. Exactly what we're talking about. It's not only inside of the office, but it's outside, right? And people are working from home. They're working remotely, so which means that they're going to be logging into their computers, into their offices from their home. So if their Wi-Fi is not secure, then they can actually, you can have somebody outside and do a drive-by attack on their Wi-Fi network, right? So, and this is how AwareGO is going beyond just the office, but targeting also or their content to families. And not only that, but this is like it hits home on Christmas time, right? So like it's a week before Christmas. We can create a campaign and send this video as a Christmas awareness. And then there is also, like an October Halloween awareness campaign as well. There is, different types of seasons, which is pretty great.
We have a comment actually from Daniela.
All right, Danielle. Adding to what Diego mentioned above, when using any third-party tool, service, website, app, it is best practice to never use your work email and password, as this information may eventually be found on the dark web in a data leak.
By the way, very nice to see you, Danielle.
Danielle, I hope you're doing fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. So one thing is creating strong passwords, but if you reuse them everywhere, then what is the purpose of creating a password? Because as we see over and over and over again, large companies get hacked and all their data is exfiltrated and hackers get hold of emails and passwords, and then they're sold on the dark web, right? So amazing. Any other questions, guys? If you have, we have the experts. We have Ragnar as well as Dr. Bada online.
I was going to say, Dr. Bada or Ragnar. I mean, I guess with the last, a couple minutes or 7 or 8 minutes of our show, what are your thoughts, obviously, as the expert in this industry? How do we change the mindset, the perception of that C-level executive, that individual, that organization, to not be reactive, but proactive moving forward? Because one of the biggest challenges we have, I mean, we're very, very proud. We've created a new technology. We're changing and revolutionizing the network security side of things, but it's education, right? So when people see our technologies, they're like, okay, I love it. But how do we change in this world the people's perception? How do we get people to do it and move forward? And again, back to being proactive and not reactive. How do you guys want to kind of wrap that up, maybe? What are your thoughts on it?
There is a shift coming. It used to be just for compliance, security awareness, checking the box, but now it's shifting more towards risk management, right? Because with over 90% of successful breaches originating in humans, absolutely, this is a force that has to be reckoned with, there's a shift coming. This is a real problem.
Yes. So
I wanted to add one thing about the Christmas video. We opened up quite a Pandora's box with that one because because we have 18 languages and making poems that rhyme in the
language. Wow.
Good luck with that one.
Our budget is this, and we spent this to make it.
Yes. Yeah, because all the content is it's multilingual. You're creating multilingual content, right? How many languages are you able to target right now?
We have currently 18 languages.
18 languages.
Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. Yeah, about the security programs focused on compliance, and that's what we see all the time, right? And we see it. I mean, we are providers of cybersecurity training as well in our company through your videos and your content, and we see it all the time. We see companies come to us and we compliance. We have to do this.
We're too busy. We don't want to do it.
Here's the money. Here's the money. Just do it. Whatever. And we're like, no, man, you have to be secure. You don't want to lose millions of dollars, even if you have insurance, because that's going to go away, right? So, how do you convince the upper management? That is kind of like the main thing on being behind this whole entire thing, right? So, we have another questions from Boris.
You know what, Dr. Bada, I want you to maybe answer that though quickly, because I think it's really
important.
I know you were. I know you were. I saw it coming out, and I was like, no, I want to hear
me.
No, because it's so important. Because as a business leader or an organization, you're focusing on your business and you're moving forward, right? Until you're again back to being reactive/proactive. So I do want to hear your answer. I think it's really important.
It links to what Ragnar mentioned around the kind of taking a risk kind of based approach. And this is really how we developed the human risk assessment as well. The method and approach we followed also needed to be, practical, providing the information that a manager or CEO would need in order to take the information that, would be required to update processes, policies, and be proactive. So basically collecting the necessary information, updating things, and being kind of more prepared and resilient for the future. Right. And I think when you present, and going back to Ragnar's example, when you present the CEO, the fact that, more than half of your employees were willing to share their passwords, that is the moment that they usually realize that, something needs to change here. But usually I think that is the approach until now that I'm seeing that is the most effective, the risk or vulnerability based approach, basically.
It's like you're shaking them, wake up, look at this. And you know what, it is unfortunate. It is unfortunate that there's people or companies that come to us and they say, we got hacked, our entire company got ransomware. What do we do now? Right. So you don't want to wait for that to happen. You want to take a proactive stance. Neil Bouchard, he says languages include French Canadian. So for Quebecois, for our French Canadians and in Quebec, it is also in French Canadian. That's pretty cool. There's not just French from France, but also Quebecois. So, all right. So I think we are wrapping up. It's already 12:58, and I really appreciate. And as I said, we are very delighted and honored to have both of you on the show. And for everybody out there, if you need any if you need any information, if you have questions, just go to awaregO.com. I think Gladstone is saying we have one more question. Maybe we can answer the last question and then we'll call it a wrap. Okay, so Gladstone, just put it online and then we'll answer that question.
I don't want to wrap up today though. I'm learning a lot, so I want you to stay here, guys.
2 hours.
I know.
So
what's the last? There we go.
Okay, I can't really read that question, but it's in your awareness training, do you recommend making backups often? This way you avoid ransomware in case of an accident if you have everything backed up. Oh wow. So this opens up technical cybersecurity awareness as well. So, like cybersecurity, not just for the average folk or the C-level executives or finance, cybersecurity awareness for the actual IT people or the people that are in charge of doing technical stuff. Do you guys do that as well? Do you target the technical level?
Not at the moment, no. But as for when things happen, you need to have a plan to how are you going to get that back up.
Yes.
because in awareness we're moving the likelihood,
Yes.
the needle of likelihood, but the impact is same. If somebody installs ransomware, it doesn't matter if he watched a video or something about it. So I have fallen for a scam. But technology saved me. We had multi-factor authentication. So
yes.
But this was from a friend of mine. He said, check out this genius. And I opened it up and inserted my password. But he forgot to tell me that this was a genius scam, not something genius.
Yeah.
Well, and I think you're bang on there, Ragnar. I think the reality of it is, and we say it all the time, cybersecurity is like an onion, right? There's multiple layers to mitigate risk. So cybersecurity awareness training done well to instill knowledge, not fear, is an incredible layer, right? And then if you talk about endpoint detection, you talk about firewalls, you talk about MDRs, which we're very proud of. So network protection, if something gets inside the network, all these layers help protect an organization. So I think, you know what, all the awareness training in the world is absolutely incredibly critical. There's no question. But just making sure the IT people, the cybersecurity teams all build those layers to help mitigate risk, not eliminate it, because we're never going to guarantee we're going to eliminate risk. But if you mitigate it through these measures, I think you're going to have incredible success and protect yourself.
Absolutely. And you know what? If an IT person, an IT administrator, a system administrator needs cybersecurity awareness training, oh man, you have to go back to school, man, because that's a very fundamental thing in IT security, right? So, so it makes complete sense not to have a cybersecurity awareness training for IT people. They need to learn. They need to take, Security Plus, CompTIA, and do certifications and learn about how to protect the systems and the technology, right? So, thank you so much. I really appreciate again, Dr. Bada and Ragnar.
Thank you. Thank you so much
for talking to us, and I'll see you around next Friday, live. We're on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube as well. Guys, have a fantastic weekend. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for joining, everybody. Thank you, everybody.